Hello everyone. We, or Ben, is attempting another one of these because he made you so irate. In fact, over 5,000 of you were giving us angry comments. So, we're going to set him the challenge of cooking up a dish using ingredients using every single letter of the alphabet. We're not going to let him use the same ones he used last time as a punishment, and we're also shooting it from his flat and making a mess as an extra punishment.
Well, no, this is my safety net, this is my control, this is where I always cook. That bit should be okay. I was quite happy with the last one.
No one else was.
Apparently,
You're the only person on the planet.
Greaseproof paper doesn't count.
So begin the challenge in 3, 2, 1. Where are we starting?
Starting with D. So, duck legs. They are going to be slowly cooked with some other ingredients that I think are really important.
Okay.
Bay leaves.
But
Okay.
So flavouring into the duck, juniper berries,
Nice,
Okay.
creative use of the J. I
Nice.
like it.
rosemary, thyme,
God, he's flying through them.
veal stock.
Oh, okay.
So this stock specifically has to be veal, does it?
So the thing is,
Here we go. There's so much BS in these episodes. It's really quite an art form that you've developed.
duck stock, so rare and like not going to be a thing.
Okay.
Chicken stock would be absolutely fine in this, but I prefer celery for my C. So veal stock it is, which is kind of very similar. It's a light beef, heavy chicken stock. Season it up, salt and pepper.
They don't count.
No, we're giving you salt, pepper and oil.
And you'll notice I've taken a lot of the fat off these duck legs because I just want this to render down and braise. So basically it's going to half braise, half kind of stew in the stock, but that does mean that stock is then going to be veal and duck stock, and we'll use it later on with all of those herbs and juniper and deliciousness. Into the oven.
I think we can accept shoehorning is unavoidable at this point. We just
yeah.
don't want it to be too blatant.
I'd like you just to, this time, pick ingredients beginning with the correct letters that are edible and not try and
is-
say bleached greaseproof paper is an ingredient. That's all I'm
all it was, that's all it
asking.
was.
That's all we're
It was
asking.
unbleached because you was very difficult. Right, every chef knows these are core base ingredients. Bay leaves, celery, onion, garlic. I'm going to chop them all up and start to sweat them off in oil, which we're not counting because oil, salt and pepper don't. As always with this challenge, there's some, challenges.
It's pretty I mean, I'd be a mess if I
What's
had
your
to do
process?
Well, last time I started with BLT and worked from there.
Yeah.
This time I started with foundation because I wanted mirepoix or sofrito, and I quickly realised that carrot and celery both begin with C, so there's no carrot in this.
I would love to try this.
I think it'd be one for them.
Yeah, it would be one for
I
them,
did it.
definitely.
Well, it's definitely not one you can do on your feet. It does need planning and thinking about.
How long did it take you to solve the conundrum of what you're going to cook?
A DLR train from my flat to the studio,
Oh,
the old studio.
L. he's trying to cross
That's
off more
impressive.
letters.
But only because I spend most of my morning commute doing crossword, Sudoku, connections, I like that.
This is pretty much
Wordle.
the same thing.
So this is basically a puzzle. Right, back up to A. Almonds, comma ground. Sugar, butter,
You've used
You-
bay
you-
leaves.
unsalted butter.
Oh, you little...
Very important in sweet things. Eggs. Now I did use egg yolk last time, but egg yolk is a very different ingredient to eggs.
In usage, you can't really argue with that, can you? I think we let it fly.
So what am I doing? A dessert, because I find it difficult to shoehorn in a whole bunch of ingredients into a single dish, so we're going to do a nice dessert as well.
Okay.
We're going to do a Williams pear frangipane.
Have you ever heard of a Williams
So
pear?
particular. So P, yeah.
Williams pear, W.
Why Williams?
Why Williams?
Why will
Williams?
that
So what's
improve the
important?
dish?
Because what they have is a structure that means when they cook, they won't go to mush, like a baking or a cooking apple. They will still hold their form, and they've just got that wonderful shape. I've seen another flaw in this plan.
Oh, great!
Yes.
Want to melt my butter, but my microwave's in that cupboard, which you've blocked off very light, because it's such a small flat.
This is what you get for unbleached greaseproof paper. We'll take your microwave away from you.
There's a big cupboard for a microwave.
So you've put a microwave...
That's my utility room, Barry.
Okay.
Notice how he's put his microwave in a cupboard
Yeah, out of sight.
and his wine rack within reach.
Yeah. So just decore and then slice the pear, and then once we've got our frangipane mix and a lined, fluted tart case, then we put them together.
Talk to us about frangipane. What do we expect?
So frangipane is a cake basically, or the mixture that might go inside of a cake or a pastry, where the majority of the flour in the cake is ground almonds. Does need a little bit of flour as well, we'll come to that.
So does it change the texture? Is it more of a chewy kind of texture as a result?
Yeah, and it stays moister for longer, I would say. 4 eggs, yolk and white, and then you whisk in your sugar, zest of a lemon, Zed. I don't want the juice. Sugar.
It's a good one.
Why wouldn't you use the juice? Justify yourself.
So you certainly don't want the juice when you're baking because the acid affects the way that cakes rise and set. It's why, if you're making a lemon drizzle cake, the juice of the drizzle goes on afterwards. If it went in before, the cake doesn't rise or bake properly. You can put the zest in, because that's the oils, but it's not the liquid and the acid. So you get the fragrance of lemon.
Lemon is the ingredient. Zest is the verb.
No, noun and verb. Yes, to zest, correct. Do you know what? I will leave it up to you. You don't even have to specify the citrus fruit. Zest of grapefruit, zest of lime.
Right,
Any zest would be lovely here.
I'll give you that. Okay, well done. Well wriggled out.
Oh my goodness.
Ground almonds go in.
Almonds ground.
Almonds ground go in.
Zest of lemon.
And I love this because it's basically an all-in-one. It's such an easy recipe, especially when the butter is melted. And then just behind you, can you pass the flour? It's in a kilner jar.
Is it normal flour or is it
Yeah, beginning with F.
sifted flour?
It's self-raising. It says that on the label on the top. SR flour.
I'll be honest, I forgot about it, which is why it's the only ingredient not weighed out. Bear with, right, 50 grams. Right, frangipane mix. Now, this you can bake into small ones, you can bake into large ones. They go in the middle of pastries that you might bake. Pastry cases is delicious. I'm just gonna put it straight into a fluted lined tray with unbleached greaseproof paper.
Which is not an ingredient.
Apparently not.
Beautiful.
And then pears. And with a bit of luck, they'll sink in, and then the mixture, which obviously got the eggs and everything else, will kind of rise up around it. And they're overlapping. And then that one goes on there. Right. Frangipane, same temperature, same oven, about 20-25 minutes. So while we wait for some things to cook, the duck legs to finish, that veal stock to take on all those lovely flavours, the veg to soften, the frangipane to cook, we can go to the other end of the kind of cooking, which is the garnish, the bits right at the end. I'm going to do some parsley. A couple of tricky letters left, but one of the easy ones, I think, L, lentils.
Oh,
So now that all of our celery, onion, garlic, bay leaf have sweated down, they've got a nice sort of gentle golden colour, so plenty of time, then in with lentils. Now these are already pre-cooked, they go in, and then we're going to add in some of the stock from the duck, the pulled duck, and kale.
nice.
Then we'll garnish it with a P at the end.
What's amazing so far with this dish? It's such a well-rounded dish so far.
Kale.
K for kale, nice and easy. Where are my manners? You've been here all of 20 minutes, I've not offered you a drink.
Yeah, we noticed. And it's not like I haven't got much.
Right,
So what I've got is so think about what this dish is.
here we go.
Duck, it's got the richness, it's got a little bit of spice, which is coming soon.
Yeah.
Haven't even shoehorned that in yet. And then an earthiness of lentils and celery and onion. So it needs a good red, quite a robust red. Nothing too bold, but nothing too light. So I've gone for a beautiful Greek grape
Does it happen to begin with an X?
and a Greek variety called Hinomavro
Yes.
X.
Listening to that explanation was like waiting, knowing someone's going to punch you in the face.
Now, what I know happened here is he's gone, X is the hardest one here, let's find something with X. He's done some searching, found this fascinating wine and based the entire dish around that wine.
Yeah. No, this is the wine. This is it's a fabulous wine. It's a favourite of ours. Actually, it's what we had at the team Christmas dinner.
yeah.
2 Christmases ago was a time that I found this beautiful red wine and thought, that is just fabulous. We don't know enough about Greek wine in the UK, I would say.
Cross the X off, annoyed. Okay.
Well, I can't wait to drink that.
So, as you can tell, it's quite a light red wine, but the flavour of it gives you so much as a comparison. It's an ingredient, so have a little taste, I think.
I can't wait to tell him that this is sweet.
Special. Right, what we got that? What's this? Sausage? No.
I've gone from this side, you go from that side. That is delicious.
It's So what you can see is nice, sort of softened brown, caramelised in places. Now in with our lentils.
What on earth is he calling these sausages?
Because we want to cheat into this relatively quick cassoulet, some sort of body, some depth, that word we hate, but umami, a little bit of yeast extract, and I love this as a secret ingredient.
Yeast extract.
Yeah,
It is the ingredient.
It is the ingredient.
yeast extract.
And actually,
No,
you've got a
it's-
what?
Mighty yeast extract.
Wow, you found a.
Wow.
I think it's the Audi version. Yeah, it's still in a Marmite jar, i.e. the shape of the jar is called a Marmite,
Cheeky.
but it is, yeast extract, and just a teaspoon added into this, which will melt down into that stock,
Nice touch.
will give a real depth of body umami loveliness, and it's a Y. Have you worked out my sausage yet?
Quality sausages.
Nice sausages.
Is it a region?
Are they chipolatas?
It is a region. It is a lamb sausage from France. They are merguez.
Oh, okay.
Merguez sausages.
Beautifully lightly spiced lamb fat. So now what we've got is this lightly spiced merguez sausage, which we're going to grill and put on top of our lentil cassoulet, which is going to be bound with the pulled duck meat.
Oh, lovely.
So I'm going to take the duck out and we'll pick that meat and put it through the lentils. And all of this gets strained into the lentils. Our lentils have now cooked down in that stock. We can fish out the bay leaves and go in with the duck. And in goes the parsley. Something perfect to stir through at the end. Quince, enough to stir and melt into all of this. And the quince gives it a lovely gloss and shine because it's very sweet. And with a bit of luck, we should have a lovely consistency that just kind of relaxes onto the plate. Finish with these fantastic sausages. And that is our main course.
Lovely stuff, Ebbers.
Yeah, nice.
Ice cream.
Oh, it's got nutmeg.
And I deliberately
Nutmeg.
went vanilla ice cream so you can have this wonderful fragrance of nutmeg
That's fair.
Nuts. Yeah, that's good.
over
great.
the ice cream.
H. Just H. What are you going to do?
Oh, no. This is a small
Where's
fry.
he going? He's going to his herb garden. Just herbs. Herb.
You cannot come to Ebba's flat and not have a very, very important homegrown herb. That'll annoy everyone.
Yeah, well, you've
Double H, homegrown herb.
Well done on all levels for keeping people to the end to be pissed. And 2 delicious meals.
Let's get some sexies and tuck in. Well, we got there eventually.
Yeah.
I'm excited
yeah.
for it because it smells amazing.
There's so much going on in this. Oh, wow.
That is spectacular. You can taste Marmite and quince, but they absolutely are needed. Really interesting flavour. Fantastic.
How you've taken so many things and made them work. It's quite clever.
I think it's kind of the classic of French cooking in the sense that once you've got that base, you realise how important celery and bay are. Then you build layers and layers and layers, and we've got the kale in there which cooks down, which gives you a different thing to the parsley. And the merguez sausage is just classic.
That is stonking.
If you weren't playing this game, what would you take out? Does it need all of it?
I don't think it necessarily needs merguez sausage on top, actually, because it's got
but
loads
it's
of duck
good.
already through it.
Good.
But it does add a whole nother dimension of that spice and the fatty lamb on top of the duck.
Really great. I want to eat some of that frangipan though.
And you can get all sorts of delicious flavoured ice creams, but actually the simplicity of vanilla with a grating of nutmeg, you DIY it.
That is great.
That is spectacular.
That is
everything I love in a cake.
All that we can say is these are exceptional. And it's that is a tough challenge. I'm not prepared to say whether or not you passed though, because of the outrage from last time. So I'm going to hand it back over to you guys to let us know in the comments.
I think that's absolutely fair, but one final parting word,
Go on.
and it is the hill that I'm prepared to die on.
Right.
Everybody, however small the space you live in, including this tiny flat, you can grow homegrown herbs, and that's why I left it as the final punctuation.
But it's
because
mint.
it could have been any number of herbs.
Okay, so put curly leaf parsley on that. Oh,
Homegrown herbs. We should all be doing it.
Brilliant. Well done, Evers.
lovely. And thank you for having us in your flat.
You're very welcome.
We're going to film a lot more here.
Who's doing the washing up?
I want to see Mike do this next. Come on. We all want to see it.
No one wants to see that.